Okay, if I want to talk about the structural frame, assuming that I would have put in all these figures inside this matrix here. So if I want to talk about the structural frame, this particular row, let me highlight this. Let's say this is green color. So I want to talk about this particular row. So first of all, I explain what is this thing called the structural frame. So you should be citing Bowman and Dew and so on, a short little one or two paragraph. Then you start to say, in relation to responsible morality in terms of servant leadership, and something else in terms of Machiavellian leadership, and conscientiousness in terms of your personality trait. So you are trying to make some relationship, explain the structural frame, and talk about the relationship. Talk about the relationships. So you say, um, my servant SL score is relatively high, while my ST score, maybe I should put it clear, make it clear. This is ST. Maybe I write somewhere. My ST score, let's see, score indicate highest highest in among top 10. So for servant leadership, I may better serve others if I can utilize my strength from this way of thinking, or something like that. Now the idea is that this has to be about you. It has to be about you. This is about my score. My score in terms of servant leadership, which is relatively high, and this is considered very high. So given that is high for both, right? So I say here my servant leadership score is relatively high, while my structural frame score is very high, among the top 10%. So for servant leadership, I may better serve others because I have to be a better servant leader if I can utilize my strength from this way of thinking. So assuming that, given that my RM score is only 4. RM, I'm referring to this responsible morality. You can put in long form. It's only 4, which is my lowest SL score, which is my lowest SL score. This means I should find ways to help improve my RM from using my ST frame. Okay, now you may be a bit confused because at this point maybe you are still not familiar. Can you see that these two, servant leadership and Machiavellian leadership, these are behaviors, and Bowman and Deal has to do with how you think, your cognitive ability, while Big Five personality is who you are. These are trait characteristics. Now you have to refer back to what I have taught you on traits and behavior, especially the diagram I draw on the board now, which I want to show you now here. Can you remember this diagram? This diagram which I got from Zakharov. These are distal attributes. These are trait characteristics. Whereas these are state characteristics, state-like characteristics. These are proximal attributes. Can you see that these are personality is here, your big five, your cognitive ability, meaning your 4-frame model is here, And these are state-like characteristics which we are not studying now. Your emotional intelligence will fall under here. And finally, your behavior will be under the leadership process. In fact, this model by Zakharov has been updated recently. I didn't give you the updated one because I didn't want to confuse you. In fact, I have it here. I want to show you now. This is the updated version, which he shows very clearly. Let me make it bigger. Okay. Can you see now? These are trait attributes. These still traits, you see. Your cognitive ability is here. Okay. Your personality is here. And these are your proximal attributes. And these are things like emotional intelligence, which you will learn later. Can you see your behavior is here? So your servant leadership, your Machiavellian leadership is here. This side, easier to change. You can change your behavior easily. You can't change your personality easily. But your cognitive ability, you can still say that because it has to do with knowledge, you can still say that although I predominantly think from the structural frame, I can actually learn and practice to adopt a different perspective, for consciously adopt a different perspective. But naturally, I am predominantly a person who thinks from the structural frame. So back to our discussion here. That's why you have to have this understanding of how they are related first. You can't change your personality. You can try and adopt different perspective, but predominantly you will be very strong in certain, you have certain inclination to think in certain way, but your behavior element you can change. So you are trying to use some of your trait characteristic. How can you help to change your behavior if it is relevant? So in this case, you are trying to say, given that my responsible morality score is only 4, which is the lowest in terms of servant leadership, this means I should find ways to help improve my responsible morality using the structural frame. If you want to, right? If you want to mitigate this, right? If you want to improve this, right? What you can do this. How? So the implication will be, okay, if that's the case, I may want to improve in terms of responsible morality by having more clear policies and guidelines for others to determine what are right and wrong actions. Can you see? Clear policies. Why did I put clear policies and guidelines for others? Because these are elements that is reflective of the structural frame. This is how I think. I think in terms of policy, guidelines, in terms of procedure, in terms of culture, in terms of structure, you see. So as a conscientious person, this would also be the case. I would be very careful to state very clearly in that policy guideline what I mean by right action, what I mean by wrong action. Giving and taking of bribe is wrong if you giving and taking of gift to a certain amount is right. Then I would state that very clearly. Okay.